Hello and welcome Homeschool Together Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking to you, preschoolers out there who are looking for some activities to do with your young ones before maybe you start a full curriculum. You might be filling out your morning basket. I know we're getting into the end of the spring here and into the summer, and a lot of us new homeschoolers may be looking for something to do with our preschoolers, trying to develop some fun skills. Today I'm going to be talking about three Kumon books. These are little workbooks that cover a number of activities. We covered puzzles and we covered mazes and coloring. So those classic preschool activities that we know we need to cultivate with our young ones before we maybe embark onto a larger curriculum. I loved working with these books with my oldest. These are actually from the Wayback Time Machine, about 4 years old. Loved using these books in our morning basket. And if you haven't had a chance to check out our video and our talk about morning baskets, I'll go ahead and link them in the show below. But these are wonderful little activities if you're looking to fill in a little bit of time, especially you homeschoolers who have an older student that you need to work with. You want to try to entertain and get that little one doing something so they don't keep bugging you when you're doing your math and your reading work with your older child. This was something that I used a lot, and I really had a lot of success with this. So let's go ahead and hop into it, and I can show you guys what they look like. So I'll start with the first one here. Actually, I'll maybe put them all in here in the view for you to take a look. So we have the mazes, we have the At the Zoo coloring, and we have the Jigsaw puzzles. What I like about the Kumon books is they're very clear about what age groups they're targeting, and you can see those right here up at the top. Obviously, this one's a little bit older, but I found even my 3-year-old was able to do this. This one was done by my youngest right now, and these two were done by my oldest. Really great books. You can get them about $7, $8 online. I think there's. I used to go to Barnes and Noble and pick these up. They're available pretty much everywhere. They're super cheap and they're super thin. Very easy to go ahead and just toss these right into your morning basket. One thing I like about the back of the Kumon books is they really help you when you're thinking, oh, how am I going to use this book and where do I go next? And so you can see here they have a nice flow chart. As you get older, they help you get more advanced books as you move through and fill them in. So you can almost like cross off. You can almost tear this off and start crossing them off and saying, oh, where are we on our age range and what skills are we learning? These books are very simple, very straightforward. I would not rely on these as kind of a cornerstone of a curriculum. For me, these are supplementals. This is, part of my wall of supplemental books. We all have our big curriculums. We all have the things that we're doing on a daily basis. But a lot of times I need to develop a little bit more skills. Sometimes my children need to get a little bit more practice on whatever that might be. Here are these books there to help you. So let's go ahead and hop into a couple of them and I'll let you just see what they are. Fairly straightforward. The first one is a jigsaw puzzle. So obviously in this one you're going to be cutting out a piece of paper, using scissors and using glue. So depending on your age range and how destructive we know our 4-year-olds might be, or 3-year-olds if you want to stretch it, you may need a little bit of supervision. This might be something that they do right next to you while you're working with something else with your older student. But here's a great example. So the page has been torn out and my daughter then has to cut the picture, and these were all kind of scrambled on the original picture. And what's cool is, maybe if I can pull one back, is that they give you a little bit of a help here with the numbers. So there's built within the kind of the puzzle work is maybe a little bit of number recognition to help your learner know where to put those pieces together. But obviously it's a 4-piece puzzle. They can kind of see it's a strawberry and they go ahead and cut them out and glue them in. So something that I always like to have is some safety scissors and a little stick of glue in, not in my morning basket. I kind of put those up in my art caddy, but I can easily pull those down in the morning, toss this in front, cut out a page, maybe 2, and ask my young one to go ahead and, hey, why don't you go ahead and cut those puzzles out and, glue them right up. Oh, here's a good example of the page. Obviously, this one didn't survive making lunch. That was a rough day. So here's a good example. I wasn't paying attention enough, and our poor space shuttle is upside down. Kind of fit into the spot anyway, so maybe it wasn't the best design. But had fun putting them together. Obviously, it was a little upside down. I let that go. Obviously, you can't pull it back. It's glue. It's kind of a permanent mistake. Here's another example. Here we lost the piece, I think, or maybe it's upside down. Classic. Yep, it's upside down. Classic 3 and 4-year-olds using this. But again, you can see how easy this is. Very straightforward, and it just continues on and on and on. And so If you're thinking about an activity to maybe do during the summer, you're doing some morning basket activities, or just want to keep the brain stimulated, learning some basic skills, putting puzzles together, using the scissors. There's nice guidelines on the original sheet that you tear out, helping your learner cut these pictures out on the right lines. So it's real nice. I remember just sitting there staring at my 3-year-old, 4-year-old, just carefully cutting along the lines. It's a good activity. I know she learned how to use the scissors really well from this activity. This one obviously didn't go as well as it should have. Another one here with the hot air balloon. Really easy activity book. Super simple. It is a consumable, so this is not a book you're going to rescue. You might keep it for archive purposes when they graduate college, and you can show them how great their cutting skills were. But for me, this was just a really cheap, easy, consumable, simple activity. Get the brains going in the early morning. Now I'll go ahead and show you the coloring at the zoo. This is a fun book if your learner is starting to learn their colors and want to associate the markers. I always have like a nice tin of markers. It's like a little carry tin, and then I have all these Crayola markers in there. So I can just plop this down in front of my daughter and say, hey, go ahead and have at it. This is very straightforward. What happens is there's a block of the picture that is empty. And so your learner will have to say, okay, what color is the beak of this bald eagle? Oh, it's yellow, so I have to go get the yellow marker and go ahead and color in that spot. What is next is, because they learned about that eagle, which was the source of the previous page, they have a simple little maze, which is go from the one arrow to the star, following just the eagles. Now this is fairly simple, fairly straightforward for us, but for my learner, just having that ability to look ahead, make those straight lines, and come across is a nice skill. She's obviously here making straight lines. I was using, I think, this might have been a crayon one. Yeah, that might have been crayons. This was markers. So obviously she's got to fill in the camel, what color brown, so pick the right color of brown. It also gives you the hint up here to your learner if they're looking for that, if they can maybe do some early reading. Again, she has to figure out the path. And as you can see here, she kind of like, oh no, that's a lion. I got to come back and come back down through the camel. So it was associating it. So when I did these activities with her, I would have her do the 2 pages. So I would do the color page here, and then I would have her do the maze, and I would save this for the next day. Listen, and if your learner wants to do 2 or 3 pages at a time, go ahead and have at it. It's a very simple, consumable book. Obviously here we have the hippopotamus's mouth. It's a red tongue. You have to find the right color. Going deeper into this, yeah, here it is. So we have the baboon, and he has 2 circles that are missing, and you have to figure out the right color. Now sometimes you may allow your learner to just kind of play and explore and have fun with it. I think my daughter sometimes found that she wanted to color it a different color, and I would say, oh, you need to do black. She goes, yeah, I know it needs to be black, Daddy, but I'm going to do it as green, or something of that nature. And there may be a few in here that are a little bit off, but here she is just kind of doing these. Again, the mazes get a little bit more challenging, but they're fairly straightforward, not very difficult to do that. Obviously this is the polar bear, but we had to do the nose here, and you can see it's getting a little bit more complex on the mazes. We have the turtles here. Now you're coloring in more complex shapes. So we've gone from just the simple shape to the more abstract shape, which is the back of the turtle's shell here, having to stay around the lines, not coloring in these little accenting pieces and colors, really staying on the line. So I really loved it for that, teaching my daughter that dexterity, using the pencils, using the markers, staying in those lines. You may evolve your marker usage to go from the big fat markers to maybe some of the thinner markers towards the end, because they may be doing a little bit more finer work. Here again, you can see the trail of the map got a little bit more complex. She obviously went the wrong way with the giraffe, made sure she got that extra leopard, and then came back down. Again, just a very simple book to toss into your morning basket to get your young one's brains going, and then driving home both colors. You can do a little bit of animals, animal recognition, and also mazes. So it kind of gets a lot of it, but it's a lot of different skills, but it is a fairly straightforward and fairly easy book. The one thing I always notice about the Kumon books is that the activities are very repetitive, in the sense that there's not a lot of creativity from one activity within the book to the next. They tend to follow a format. They may change the theme, but the activities tend to stay the same. Here's mazes. I'm a big maze fan. I love doing mazes. I like it for its logic, its patience as well. Also the dexterity with using the pencil. Obviously this is for younger learners, so the mazes are not super complex, but they do get a little challenging towards the end. So obviously here on the first page, it's very straightforward and simple. And you can begin to teach them skills of maze work, where you pause and you look up and you say, oh, I can't go this way. Okay, now I'm going to continue going here until there's a break. Oh, which way do I have to go? Oh, I have to go this way. So I was teaching my daughter how to do mazes by pausing and then checking the logic and moving through. So you can see here in a little bit more of an abstract thing. You can see they're alternating between these cities and these mazes. I believe it changes a little bit, but the themes tend to cycle. So here we have a farm. Here we're in the dark forest and woods. And you can see here, sometimes my daughter went the wrong way, had to come back and finish it up. I really like to focus staying inside the lines, really getting that skill. I always told her that if you don't stay inside the lines, the crayon might zap you. And so she, oh my gosh, I can't touch the sides. You know, have a little fun. Maybe do one or two of them with them. So you, obviously here, I did the first part of the line, and then she took on the rest of it. Here's another one where I did the first part of the line, and then she went ahead. So I was instructing her how to do the mazes. So I would be coming here and I would pause. Oh, I can't go this way. And I'd use my finger to say, oh, check. Okay, I can't. I got to come this way. And I would move to the bottom. So just helping them learn how to do mazes. So as you can see here, I'm always kind of just showing her those first few moves here and here. It was kind of a thing I was doing with her to help her figure out how to do it. So you can see the complexity is starting to level up. And you can see here towards the end, these mazes are a little bit more complex. You can see a lot of mistakes are made, which are absolutely okay. Recover, find the ending. Obviously, how to get to work, things of that nature. I like these books for that handwriting. So if you're looking to do a little bit of handwriting and you want to work on the control of the pencil, the Mazes book would be another good example for you. I hope that review of these very simple, straightforward Kumon books, if you're looking to fill out a morning basket and you're looking for workbooks, and maybe you've seen these at thrift stores where I can get these for a couple bucks at a thrift store, maybe a couple pages are used, and you can just tear those pages out and put this in your morning basket. You can get them online for $7, $8. I think you can get them at some big bookstores. Barnes & Noble, I think, carries these as well. Real creative, really fun, simple, straightforward, great for preschoolers, learning those very simple skills. Great distractor tool if you have other children you're working with. I love them for putting them in the morning baskets. That was kind of my MO of using them. Again, I would just do about a page, maybe 2 pages, 3 pages a day. No big deal. It's not a lot of effort. My 3-4-year-old would always have enough stamina to do these. And again, I would do all 3 of these. These would all be in my basket. So I would just give her all 3, do one after the next, and that would be enough to stimulate her brain for about 30, 40 minutes while I'm working with my older daughter who's doing a little bit more advanced work. And after doing this for a little bit, maybe she will want to go off and play, and I can get a little bit more work done with my older student before we come back together maybe and play a game together as a group. Really wonderful, super cheap, super easy, perfect morning basket books. I would highly recommend you getting a hold of a few of these.